and welcome back to my YouTube channel, to VÄRKSTAN Season 2.
But don't touch, motherfucker, think twice. You don't want me pull my bang bang.
This time I'm going to build this Mercedes here behind me. It's actually my first super turbo diesel, which I had almost 5 to 6 years ago, and I sold it to Tornio in Finland, and now I have bought it back, and I'm going to build a new version of it with a 606 turbo engine and all the good stuff you need to make it to work. And I have bought this engine, or I bought a whole car, a wagon 210 original turbo diesel, and the car was all rusty and full of dents, but the engine was running good, and I just took the engine out and saved some other parts from the car. I still have the car here at my car graveyard. This engine should be unopened. One problem I have seen with it was the camshafts, the bearing cap bolts, that some of them had bad threads. So when I torqued them down after I have locked the cam gear, some of the threads started to pop out, and I still have a couple of them to fix, but the most of them are fixed. I can show you later on. But right now I have to remove this old bolt here, which has seized, and someone has already been here trying to take it out. So let's see if we can get it out some way. And I also have another project, which you can see here, a BMW, which I'm going to build as a hobby drifting car for myself. And I will try to focus on this Mercedes now first, but you will see the build of that one later on. And I have already bought a lot of different parts for these builds, and I'm still waiting for some of the parts. Some of the sponsors from last year are still with us. The Strongflex bushing kits. I have ordered the kits for both cars. I will show you later the kits. I have already them here in my garage. I will do kind of the same to this wagon as I did to the last project, which you saw. I will make it drivable with all the bushings and the engine and everything, and I will drive it this winter. At least that's the plan. And then at springtime or summer, before the summer, I will paint the whole car, just the same as I did to the other one. I'm really sorry that I didn't make any further film. I have one walk around video on my channel, which you maybe have already seen. And the car turned out very nice. I had some small accident at the track. I went and tried the car at the drifting track at Lapua, and I got a couple of dents there, but nothing big to fix. I changed some pieces on the car, and Kiitola Bilmåleri painted the whole car for me. And the car is now sold to Norway. And the car worked really fine. I drove it the whole winter and the spring, and then it got painted and sold almost immediately after the painting was done. So now it's time for new projects. At these Corona times, it's good to have a couple of them at least. I have now drilled this old bolt here, and I will try to hit in a Torx bit. See if I can manage to get it out. And I have, of course, ordered a Dieselmeken pump, which is under build right now, I think. I will install a Dieselmeken pump, and I have a whole set HX40 Super, which is going to make the boost. I have the big 6-speed Zeta F gearbox which I'm going to do the same bell house swap as I did on the other one. This video series will not be as specific as the last one, so I recommend that you watch my other episodes before asking different stuff here, because I will try to tell everything new about this, but the most of it will be just same as the other one. The engine bay, I will smooth out some small stuff there and take it to Kiitola Bilmåleri so he can paint the engine bay before the engine goes in for good and such. But I need to get the axles. I have removed the axles from both cars, front and rear axles, and they are at Nymans Gräv for sandblasting and painting right now. So I will try to prepare this engine now and maybe start making the gearbox. Now this is out. Good way to get out cracked bolts with a small Torx bit. Maybe we should look at some parts I have got for this project. And as you might have recognized, I have borrowed Uttu's old camera. I also have the GoPro as last year, but I will try to do all the talking stuff with this camera. And here are the bushings. This red kit is for the wagon, same as for the 190. And the yellow ones are for my E36. And I also have some other bushings here for my ice racer. I need this also for the coupe project I have. I can show you later why I need to have this part. And I also got a spare one for the ice racer. And these yellow ones are a bit harder, so these go good on a track car. These red ones are a little bit softer, but very good for street cars with a lot of power. And here I have some parts for the wagon build. Expansion tank, wheel bearings and gaskets and brake, all new brake parts and gaskets and stuff. So I will install these parts after I got all the parts from Nymans Gräv. And here is seats for the drifter, old racing seats which has gone out of date, but really good condition still. And here is some gaskets from Autocenter Jakobstad, which is a big sponsor this year also. All sorts of spare parts. And here we have Strongflex engine mounts for the drifting car. And I also have a swap kit. I am using a M62 TUB35 V8 engine in the drifting car, and to fit that in a E36 you need to get a new oil sump and these engine brackets and all sorts of mods I can show you later on the engine. And here is some reinforcement pieces for the E36 chassis, especially around the rear axle. The mounts tend to break on them when there is some small rust and some more power. So I will weld those in. I have a new radiator for the wagon Mercedes. And here I have a intake manifold, glass blasted, so it has a nice looking. It is nice looking. And I have the Eagle clutches flywheel, billet flywheel, and the throttle linkage for the pump I've already done, and some other parts here that are ready to be fitted to the car. Here is a delete plate for the preheater. It is designed by Markus Nordahl in Sweden, and I have machined it at work, 3D machined with the Mercedes star. And here is just some parts that goes back to the car after I'll start mounting stuff. I'm using an old intercooler, which I had it on it already when I had it last time. That is in good condition to use again. And here I have a fuel cell, 60 liter for the E36. I will drive the E36 on E85 fuel, so I need to have a big fuel tank for that. And here is the wheels for the drifting car from Chiptuning in Estonia, so you should absolutely check their website for some nice replica wheels. I have two 8.5 wide, I think it's these, and 10 of these 9.5 wide. These have double bolt pattern, so they fit both Mercedes and BMW. I will have those for the drifting car. Here I have the ECU for the drifting car, made by Fekzen in Sweden. This box has now been EVS deleted, so it starts without all the EVS boxes and all the unnecessary crap. And it also has the chip for the E85 fuel and the performance chip also. So this will be interesting to see how it works on the drift car later on. And I have a big Yellowspeed radiator, which will be mounted in the trunk on the drifting car. So there is a lot of job to do on that one. And as I said, I will focus on the Mercedes now first. And when the Mercedes is done, I will try to start building the drifting car. Here is the old exhaust from the wagon. I don't know if I will use this or if I make a whole new exhaust for the wagon, but let's see. We can take a look at the chassis too. The wagon was partly in pieces when I got it back. The interior was out and the engine was out. And I got the engine with it, but I sold it when I got home. It was a OM603 with a 8mm pump and a Garrett GT40 turbo. And I had an automatic gearbox in it when I had it last time, but the gearbox is now on another car. So the engine bay is just washed, and I will try to smooth out all these old brackets, and here is some old rust fix from the previous owner, which I will try to make a little bit nicer. And then paint the engine bay. I will also have to change this piece. The hood lock goes here. It has been cut on this one, and when I bought this car last time, it had intercooler piping here under the headlights, and this was very thin and didn't hold up, so I had to weld some plates there, but I will take it all away now and put that fresh one there instead. This has also been cut away, so we'll make a nicer piece for that one. And this car had been in a moose accident, which is very common here in Finland and Sweden. So they have changed the hood and the headlights for the facelift model. This is a 88-year model, the car, so this hood doesn't belong on this one. And I have the old model hood from another car, which I will install here instead, because I don't like these ones. But I will drive it like this for this winter. The both fenders have dents in them, so those will be changed before painting also. And the interior is this Caro pattern with these darker wood panels. Very nice in my opinion. It has still the automatic stick inside, and the wood panels have been deleted on the center console, but I have new new panels put there. And there has been fixed some holes here on the floor, and there is a small hole also which have to be fixed. And here on the rear fender is some rust damage, and there also, but all the axle mounts and everything is in good condition, so it's just some small fixing that has to be done on this. And here is also a weird hole that has to be fixed sometime. And the previous owner had started to change the rear fender here, so I will finish this. And here is some small filling to do. And here is also a small hole, but it is very good car to start from. It has now been inside a garage for 3 years, I think. So it's nice and dry to start building on. Here is a bad dent. The whole front corner here has been crashed, so I have to find a new fender. And here is the BMW. It's an original 318 IS chassis, and the latest engine that has been in it was a 2.5 liters straight 6 engine, M50. And the chassis is kind of good, some small rust. The axle mounts, like I said, has broken on it. And here is some old fix, but a very good chassis to start from. The front window is good condition, and the rest of the car looks good. It's the original paint on the whole car, so there is no surprises anywhere with some new paint to take off. And I will try to make this as smooth as possible, so there will be no dash inside, just the steering axle and the seats and some buttons, start buttons and kill switch for the engine. And then there will be, of course, a roll cage inside the whole car. I'm not sure yet if I will bend my own or buy some kit or something. And I will make a rear mounting radiator, and the fuel cell will be also in the trunk. So there is a lot of body work left to do on this one. And the engine for this one is right here. I'm waiting for the valve covers. They are at sandblasting right now and will be painted. But this engine is also unopened. I will not, at least now at the start, I will not have any turbo on it, just NA power. And this is the 3.5 liter version, so not maybe the most popular one for these drifting builds, but I will start with this one now and see how it works. And here is the oil pan I talked about. It is from Autocenter Performance, and it simply bolts the oil pump 10 centimeters further here in the front, because the E36 has the sump in the back original on all engines. So I also thought when I ordered this kit that the sump will be moved to the back, but it actually moved the sump more further. So that was a little surprise, but everything bolted fine. Some mods had to be done for the oil pump, but it all bolted up and fits very good. And I have ordered some Volvo 850 T5 injectors that will go with the E85 chip with the Fekzen box. And I will show more later on when I start mounting this engine inside. And here is the gearbox for the Mercedes from my good friend Tompa, which sells these gearboxes here in Finland for very good prices. So just ask some info from me if you want to get in contact with him. And I also have a same gearbox, or this is the bigger one, the GS6 53 DZ gearbox, which goes to the Benz. And I have the smaller one, the GS6 37 DZ, which goes to the V8. It is at Mika Billets right now to get a bell housing swap. So I will show you later on when I get that from him. But I will now prepare this engine, wash the oil sump and bolt it back on and fix everything so it can be fitted back in the car. Alright, so here I have the engine now with the wall cover off, and it was these bolts I was talking about where the threads has come out. These bolts are M7 and there is the threads in the head are made with helicoils, so it's like a spring which is threaded inside to hold the thread better, but they come out with the thread when you torque them too much, and that has happened here. I have already changed a couple of them, and when I torqued it back down, I noticed that there was one more that had gone. It was this one. So there is now these three. You can see from the heads of the bolts. They are not the same anymore. And I fixed these by drilling the holes to 7 millimeters and just thread the holes with regular M8 thread, and then use some regular M8 bolts to torque them back down so that holds them good in place. So I will drill and tap that last one now and then put everything back together. Also the fresh washed oil pan. I have to take this old gasket off and then put some glue on it and put it back on. So let's do that. So here I have the engine now with the wall cover back on with new gaskets, as you saw. Also I replaced the flame washers under the injectors and cleaned them off. And the glow plugs, I have removed the glow plugs already, but there has been some kind of problem on this cylinder number 3 because they had made a new helicoil out of some regular M12 helicoil, and the glow plug looks like it's threaded all the way, and I don't know what have happened here, but I have to check that when I'm installing this back. And the original electric pump is still on, so I will remove that when the new diesel pump arrives. I haven't locked this yet. I have to get a new bolt like the other engine. And the engine looks fresh and nice from this bottom side too. No bearing failures or anything. As you can see, I drove this engine before I took it out, so I know that it runs well and so on. So there shouldn't be no problems with that. So I will install the oil pan next. But I think that is all for this episode. This was a bit more talking in this episode, but hopefully there will be some action in next episode. I think I will start fixing the rust on this chassis next, so I have that shit job made. But hope to see you next time again. Follow my Instagram for more updates and see you soon. Bye.